I own about 6 companies.
What was the aha moment?
I surround myself with amazing humans.
Do you believe in 80-20 rule?
The harder it is to get a job, the more people appreciate it. I didn't really look at SEO at all. Oh, I'm the only one that can deal with new clients. We do SEO. Everyone come here. Oh, we can also make burgers. Oh, we can also sell you toys. No, I actually have a secret. I have 24 hours a day. Versus someone who types really slow, aka I'm not always right.
No one can do better than me.
If you keep doing it, you're going to be an SEO, not a CEO. Stop doing what you're doing.
I'll not learn SEO anymore. I was surprised and confused at the same time.
Why are you in an SEO conference?
My co-founder is going to love this. Welcome to the episode of the Business Playbook by Gundeep. Today we are diving deep into the world of effective management, business growth, and effective processes with none other than the Mads Singers. Mads Singers is a renowned management coach and over a decade of experience of working with Fortune 500 companies, remote teams, and online entrepreneurs. Mads has helped countless business owners, SEOs, agencies, e-commerce companies, and SaaS products companies to master hiring, process building, automations of process, and people management, and help them scale their businesses to 7 figures and beyond while maximizing the profits and efficiency. Mads firmly believes that management isn't that complicated. You just have to focus on 3 things: people, processes, and results. And everything else, automations, more streamlined operations, and ultimately higher profits will fall into the place. In this conversation with Mads today, Mads is sharing practical insights on transforming your team into proactive superstars, delegating effectively, leveraging automations, and building processes that are actually generating more money while working less. Whether you are a seasoned business owner or just starting out, this podcast is actually for everybody. This episode is packed with actionable strategies to help you take your business to the next level. So are you ready to take your business to the next level? So let's get started. Hello Mads, welcome to the show. Today guys, we have Mads Singers and he's doing a lot of stuff. He's managing a VA company, he's managing businesses, he's into SEO. How do you do it?
I have a lot of hobbies.
Great,
No, I
great.
actually have a secret. I have 24 hours a day.
Great. We're coming to that. So, first, can you introduce yourself? How did you come here? How did you reach here? Anything?
Sure. My name is Matt Singers, and as you said, my core passion and my love in life is management consulting and teaching people how to build amazing teams, build amazing businesses, and that's why I am able to do what I do. So nowadays, I own or operate about 6 companies full time, and yeah, I really love building teams, putting the right teams together, and so on. And just had the pleasure of getting into a company called Localo, which is a local SEO tool, which have been.
I think I've heard about it. Yes.
It's a lot of fun because I've
Correct.
started working with a team that are predominantly in Poland right now.
Yes.
So that's been a lot of fun coming into that and so on. And we've set up a solid structure already, and team is doing fantastically well. So
Wow.
yeah.
I would have a lot of questions for you. Let's start with one by one. Let's start slowly. So, okay. So, you were into SEO, what I suppose, and still into SEO. But what was the aha moment when you thought that business consulting, business management is also one thing which you can master and then you can make people master out of it?
So I actually started management way before SEO. So I spent about 10, 11, 12 years probably in the corporate world, working for Xerox and IBM.
Correct.
And for the majority of that time, my core passion was management and leadership and so on.
Okay.
Right? So that's how I started out. Now, while I worked at IBM, I actually started doing SEO on the side. So that was back in 2007.
Okay.
I started building my first content affiliate sites.
Okay.
And they did really well until the animals started. So first there was a penguin, and then there was a panda. And they made me regret a lot of my life choices. No, they made life really hard.
Yeah.
And for a couple of years after that, I didn't really look at SEO at all. Eventually, I left the corporate world to start my own thing. And my own thing was management consulting.
And what year was that, maybe?
That was about 2013.
Okay. At that point, I was just entering into the career of SEO.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
quite
I had
seriously.
already done it, left it,
Yes,
and kind of came
yes,
back. So
correct.
what I realized was when I left the corporate world to do management consulting, the
Mm.
one thing I realized was that probably the two least good, I don't want to say bad, the
Mm.
two least good types of people to manage by nature tend to be like developers and SEOs,
Correct,
right? They are
correct.
the ones that just want to hide behind their computer and press
Yes,
some buttons instead of actually
yes,
talking to humans.
yes.
And I found that those were the kind of people that really, really needed what I do the most. So I kind of got back into the world of SEO.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily doing it much, but
Mm-hmm.
more in terms of, yeah, being present, helping all these people in the world of SEO. And I helped, I mean, over the years, I've helped many people. Spent a good bit of time with Matt Diggity, as example.
Yes.
I've worked with the Ahrefs guys. I've worked with, yeah, lot of the big successful people in the world of SEO I've worked with, right? Because
Yes.
reality is most SEOs know enough to make, or most good SEOs
Correct.
knows enough to make hundreds of millions of dollars,
But the management
right?
is not there.
They know so much about SEO
But yeah,
and their business and their
yeah.
leadership skills,
Yes,
they don't not
yes,
spending time on.
yes.
Uh,
That's why I'm here. Yeah.
and one of the things that I'm going to talk about in tomorrow in
Mm-hmm.
Chiang Mai SEO is how you have to make a choice
Hmm.
between being an SEO or being a CEO.
Yes.
And this is the choice most SEOs don't do. The key thing is if you want to build a business, if your goal is to make a lot of money, you're not gonna win by trying to find one more little tiny SEO hack.
Correct, correct. I
That is
can relate.
that is not
Yes,
what's gonna make
yes,
you money, right?
yes.
What's gonna make you money is the business and the management skills.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that set you apart. The people who make the most money,
Mm-hmm.
when you go to Chiang Mai SEO starting
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
the people that make the most money are not the best SEOs. I can promise you,
Okay.
right? Actually, I would say if you take the 10% of people who make the most money, they're probably the bottom 20% when it comes to people who actually what they know about SEO.
Amazing, amazing. You're actually changing a lot of mindset. I have uh, a lot of a lot of things coming up, but I'll go with the flow, and then I'll come to these things again.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Moving on. So you've said that you work in the corporate culture, you work with IBM and other companies. So there's a hierarchy model of management which they follow.
Yeah.
Right now in my agency, I have seen that we are going from a boutique experience of like where I am the knowledge bearer, we are doing a lot of stuff, and now moving towards the hierarchy system. In the corporate culture, it's mostly like there's a pyramid system.
Yeah.
There's a top management, and then there are the team leaders, and then there's the whole bunch of team below them, and then everybody has a particular job or particular section of work to do, right?
Yeah.
Do you think this is the better approach, or the approach of like a Netflix? There's a book called Netflix No Rules Rules, where it's a culture explained in Netflix that everybody is free to do, they have their own responsibilities, they know what they want to do, and it's kind of a open surface culture where you are responsible for your own actions. You lead everything, and then it's kind of an open culture more towards like freedom of work, and you can maybe take leaves for 6 months, but you just need to work like that. So what approach works for an agency or for a company?
So there's a reason why 99.9% of all companies is structured the same way,
Mm-hmm.
which is strong hierarchy and as you said, as a pyramid.
Correct.
It's because it works.
Okay, it works.
Right.
So your approach is lean towards the pyramid system, the hierarchy system.
Just like SEO.
Ah,
I mean, I'm sure you can do something no one else is doing,
correct. Mm-hmm.
but if you look at what everyone else is doing that works and you just do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
that is a lot easier,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes, yes. So the systems have evolved over years, and
It doesn't mean other things can't work.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean, but again, when 99% of the data, like when you look at the top 500 companies in the US,
Yes.
499, if not 500 of them, is structured in the exact same way.
Yes.
As an SEO that likes looking at data, that should tell you something.
Yes, and that means that as we should be actually looking for like SEO agencies and companies, maybe a small tiny fish like me, companies like us. we are managing team of people, and I think we should, as soon as possible, follow that structure if you want to scale, right?
My philosophy is when you start a company, when it's just you do an org chart. And you say, right now, I'm the CEO, I'm the sales guy, I'm the marketing guy, I'm operational guy, and I'm the finance guy.
Yes.
And every time you make a hire, they go into the org chart somewhere.
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
Because this is the problem. The problem with most agencies, as example, is that they're not thinking business. They're like, oh, I got a client. Now I'm going to spend the next 3 months figuring out how to deliver for this client. And then they forget all about sales and all about marketing. And then as soon as this client leaves, so they're done with that client, suddenly they're like, oh, now there's no clients. Now we make no money. Right?
Correct.
Rule number one is you have to think with all of those 4 hats at all times.
Yes.
So if you're the only person in a company, you have to think of how am I consistently gonna generate leads. So here's the thing. If as an agency owner, if you have a small agency, just you and a couple of people, if all you do every single day is spend 20 minutes on LinkedIn, for example, reaching out to your ideal clients and say, hey, I just want to connect. I can see you're also in the pool cleaning space, and I love connecting with other people in this space. Right? If all you do for 20 minutes a day is that, right? Even when you're busy delivering, even when you're busy doing whatever, what'll happen is you will keep getting people come to you that are interested in what you do every once in a while.
Correct. So that also means that niching down towards what you're actually good at, not like doing everything. In terms of, I'll come to that in terms of clientele, in terms of the category you're into. I think that's also one thing we should look at right now.
Business is very simple.
Yeah.
Most SEOs, they know it all.
Yes.
And they try and duplicate themselves. You know what happened? It's the second you have a copy of yourself, you know what happens? They leave. They want so much money.
That's a very big problem I want to discuss.
Right. They either leave, they want so much money, they go and do it on their own. Because if they know all the stuff you know, why should they do it for you?
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So the right thing to do is take these people like you, flip it around.
Okay.
Every business succeeds by executing a process repeatedly over and over and over again. When you look at many successful companies, when you look at Microsoft, they had one tool that they sold. They made most of their money for many years on Windows, right? When you look at Coca-Cola, they made all of their money selling Coca-Cola.
Correct.
Yes, they have a couple of extra drinks right now.
Yes.
If they're done what most SEOs do, after having sold the first 50 Coca-Colas, what they're done is say, oh, we can also make burgers. Oh, we can also sell you toys. Oh, we can also sell you a car.
Okay.
And can I tell you where Coca-Cola would have been today if they had done that? They wouldn't exist.
But, okay, I'll tell you the real world problem, especially talking about maybe the Asian audience, or maybe specifically the Indian audience. Like I have been through this, that currently by God's grace, I am good enough that we are able to say no to a client. But initially, the initial 2-3 years, I would say, if there's a business on the table, how would I leave it? If there's a client, like I've been into local SEO, that's what my niche was. I was not doing AdSense, I was not doing all this stuff. I don't know how to do it still. I'm still into local SEO, but in local, I was picking everything. Like everything means everything. This, that, and even low budget clients, even high budget clients, I would admit here on the podcast that we still do it sometimes, like because now we have a bigger team to feed, we still do it sometimes. But yes, right now the freedom is much higher, the things are much better. But every agency who starts out, I think first 2-3 years, no one says no's. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can tell me how to do it.
Do you know why it takes 3 years to get an agency from zero to a decent level? Because before 3 years, they don't say no. Right? Again, you can grow an agency fast, or you can do it slow. If you want to accept all customers and grow really slowly and make sure it takes a long time to succeed, you can definitely do that. But as I said, when you turn the process around, if when you do the Coca-Cola and you focus on what is the one thing we do, so it could be local SEO, but what I say to everyone is you need to figure out what is our process.
Comes down to the process.
You find a process that you can repeat again and again and again and again. So let's say it's local SEO. You need to figure out every time we get a client, what do we do? Let's say we run an audit. Okay, what are the next steps? So the thing is, if you copy yourself, it takes a long time and you need to hire very expensive people.
Correct.
If you make a process of how to run an audit, if you make one process of how to buy citations, you don't even need to do them yourself, how to buy citations. If you make one process of how to get a piece of content written, if you make one process, if you break it down, and then you hire people to do just those individual pieces, here's what happens. Number one, you can train people in no time. A lot of the agencies I work with, they can train new people in 1 to 2 weeks. They pay significantly less because they don't need all of this knowledge.
Yes, they need a specific knowledge too, and then the SOPs should be there in the place.
The training will help them understand what to do.
Yes.
Right? But teaching someone, like if you make a guide on how to do an audit, for example, so say, okay, first you check, does the website have a little log on it when you open the website? Yes or no? And you literally explain it in those terms.
Okay.
When you open the website, does the brand name appear somewhere on the landing page? Right? Like you can really break it down and make it really damn simple. But the whole point is that when you break a process down, right? And then you look at, okay, well, what does it take to deliver each piece? Then SEO becomes very simple. The problem for all SEO owners, all agency owners is, oh, I'm the only one that can deal with new clients. Because I am the one that will have to figure out what do we do with them. And that's because they haven't figured out what's the one process. Where one day they have some e-commerce guy, one day they have a local SEO guy, but it's not the same thing.
Exactly.
They're doing totally different things.
Exactly.
If you want to succeed, and people misunderstand niching down. It's like saying we only work with dentists. But the problem is if dentists want 7 different things, then it's not one process.
Correct.
Niching down is about niching down to a process. And that's how you succeed.
Okay.
And this is what happens is when you break everything down. Now, you might hire your first person and they might need to do 4 pieces of your process because one person doing one thing might not be enough.
Yes.
But over time, when you grow more, you can have one person or maybe 2 people doing process A and one person doing process B and whatever. But it makes it so easy to grow and scale. Yes. And the most important thing, so most agencies, as you said, struggle getting clients. Do you know why? We do SEO. Everyone come here. How many people say we do SEO?
Everybody.
Everybody. Right? When you say we do SEO for chimney cleaners. If you're a chimney cleaner, come to us. You know what happened? Chimney cleaner's like, ooh, that's me.
Yeah, that's me.
Correct,
right? Correct.
Do you want to do, if you own a chimney cleaning company, do you want to work with an agency that does SEO? Or do you want an agency that works with SEO for chimney cleaners?
Got it.
Right?
Obviously, the plan B, yeah.
Here's the second thing. All of your case studies is going to be people like them. So you have 3 case studies of other chimney cleaners. I'm like, that's me, that was me. That's where I want to be.
Yes.
I want to go high.
Yes.
Right? The problem is when you say yes to clients that don't fit into your one process, you get distracted from finding the clients that do.
And then we tend to master other skills, maybe do this, that, and then the sales and everything is left behind, I think.
Yes. And here's the key thing. Every time you have a client come in that doesn't fit, here's what you do. You find someone like you were yesterday, and you say, hey, my friend, every time I send you a client, you pay me money every month, right?
Okay.
So you send me a little bit of money. I send you a client, and every month you send me a bit of money.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you make money for doing nothing. You can feed your team a little bit.
Yes.
And you can still focus on your one process.
So in the past, it's a follow-up question. I have understood your podcast and I've seen what you've been talking about, and it's always great to just listen to all of your podcasts. It's so interesting. I'm always learning something. I was, whole night listening to your podcast. I was back in the day, I used to listen to your podcast as well. So one thing which you discussed, and I was really you told that while hiring, let's talk about hiring now. Okay, there are certain things I have seen that you've discussed. I want to break it down further for more easy explanation for the audience and more clarity on the topics. Okay, so you said management and hiring people is not about the process at that point, but it's about the person as well. You need to understand the person.
Yeah.
You need to understand what kind of skill set. Even you went down to the personality. You've taken an example of the like, if you want to hire a link builder, that the volume should be low and the smile should not be on the face. That was like, I was surprised and confused at the same time with what you just said. But I really wanted to ask more about it. Like, is it like the personality should be in depth checked like that? Is it so important? Like, I never used to think like that. I was just hiring on a very surface level basis maybe, and that I could see that did not actually work for well for me. But yes, what's your take on that?
Yeah. So fundamentally, hiring is a big thing, right? I would say when you run a business or when you start a business, probably one of the top 2 or 3 most important skills is learning how to hire better. Because as you've probably seen, when you work with someone who's great, that makes your life a lot better. When you work with someone who is not great, that makes your life a lot worse.
Correct.
Right? So hiring is one of those things where business owners tend to skip because they don't know what they're doing. So we just kind of do something and hire someone.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, oh, that failed. Well, I suck at hiring. And it's like SEO. If you're like, oh, I tried to rank something, I couldn't rank, so now I don't try again. It's like, no, you try something, it doesn't work, you try again until you figure out how to do it.
Correct.
Right? Like hiring is the same. You need to keep trying, right? Just like most things, it's a business skill, it's a leadership or a management skill, right? And spend time learning about it, right? Okay. So that's the first step. Yes, personally, I believe understanding humans' personality helps you avoid a lot of mistakes.
Okay.
Does it solve every problem? No.
Okay.
But it's a bit like if you go out and hire a mechanic and you know up front, this guy can't fix my car, then you don't hire this guy. So the same thing, if you hire someone to do something that by understanding their personality, you know they can't do, you're saving yourself a lot of headache, right? So again, a lot of people who have an early business, if they go and hire 10 people, 1 or 2 of them might really luckily work out well, right? But it's often because of chance, not because of what they're doing. Yes. So, I mean, covering the whole aspect of interview and finding great people is a huge one and probably too big a topic. But what I would say is generally, you definitely want to spend time. If you're serious about wanting to build a successful business, you definitely want to spend time learning how to hire better. And I would say there's a couple of things. Like, you can go and find a whole bunch of books, right? So there's a whole bunch of books on the topic as example, but you have to invest time in it. You don't just become good at hiring by trying to do 3 interviews and saying, oh, I suck, right? That's not like...
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay, a follow-up question to this. So, as you've just said, I could make out that you are certainly involved in the process of hiring. So can you tell me more about, like, is it like that a CEO or a senior manager should be involved in the bottom level hiring as well? Maybe if you're hiring a junior SEO or maybe a very junior kind of role, what kind of involvement of a senior person like you should be in the hiring of the of a junior person or a senior person? Is it like obviously I understand that you're involved, you're doing, you're checking and there's a personality test, everything is going on, but is it for everybody or there's a process of doing it?
No. Rule number 1 is whoever the person works for, so whoever is a team leader or manager, have to make the final hiring decision.
Hierarchy model comes into the
right.
way. Yeah. Okay.
There's a very logical reason for it. And by the way, a lot of businesses really struggle because of that. Because sometimes they get the owner to hire. And here's what happens. If I come to you with a guy and says, hey, this guy is going to do your link building, and you try and this guy is shocked, you're like, dude, you hire bad people, right? You're not taking responsibility because it wasn't your choice. So the way to make sure your managers have responsibility for delivering is to make sure they hire the people they feel can deliver the work they have to do. However, that said, when I have a new manager who haven't hired before, I will help them and support them through the interview process so that they learn it. And at some point, they will be capable of doing it on their own. But the fundamental aspect is that the final hiring decision have to come from the person who they have to work for.
Great. Alright, time for a sponsor break. This episode is proudly sponsored by Kings Digital, the marketing agency that I, your host, Gundeep Singh co-founded. At Kings Digital, we specialize into scaling businesses, optimizing growth strategies, and turning your ideas into brands that people can't stop talking about. You might be thinking self-promotion in your own podcast? Well, that's quite bold. That's because that's exactly what we do for our client. Bold strategies that bring results. So if you're a business owner or an agency who wants to level up your marketing, your processes, whether it's SEO, ads, social media, performance marketing, we're building a killer brand presence for you. If you want us to audit your website or your ads campaign, just fill up the form below and we'll get back to you. Trust me, if we're good enough to sponsor ourselves, we're probably good enough to help you crush your goals. Alright, that's enough of us now. Now let's get back to the show. This has been a biggest breakthrough in my agency life. I used to be involved in the hiring process. I was doing it. I was my co-founder. He leads the ads part and everything. I leads the SEO part and everything. So we were hiring ourselves. Now the biggest win was that I hired a very good manager, and that's a long story. That he was first intern in our company, and then he grew. He do really well. He actually proved his worth, and then he is a very senior manager now in the agency. Now I helped him in the hiring the same way. Like, ask this is the questionnaire you should follow. He prepared himself. It was a content writer hiring. He interviewed. He literally actually saw 100 applicants, and then there was a process we followed, and then we finally hired one. And it is a good hiring, and that's the biggest win. Like, this was just before coming to Chiang Mai, and I was like, dude, we've cracked something. It's not a very big deal to hire someone. For us, maybe, I mean, it's like, it's okay, but like hiring on automation and hiring a good person on automation without my involvement, I just had one call, the final call. It was a very big deal for me. It was a kind of satisfaction which I got, that, oh, that's that we did that. So I think that's what it is about, right?
Yep, definitely.
There's a test involved, like if you're hiring maybe a link builder, or maybe hiring a content writer, or maybe hiring someone as an SEO strategist, to cut down the process of your manager, maybe, who has to take the decisions and everything, because I'm sure the way you work, you might have an SOP or things like processes involved in hiring as well. I'm very sure, right? Why this question is coming, because I've heard some podcasts in the past, and I know that you've discussed this. For the audience, I'll give a brief, that you've said that there's a process, there's a test involved. Like, if example, we're hiring a content writer, then there's an English test involved to see that if 100 people do it, and then
I can probably elaborate on that. So hiring is like sales. It's like a sales funnel. You want to get as many qualified people on the top, and you don't want to interview 100 people. If you interview 100 people every time you hire one, you're probably going to spend more time than you want.
Yes.
So if you have 100 people at the top of the funnel, the fundamental question you start asking is, everything else being equal, what are the things that matters in this role? So if I'm hiring a content writer, I might focus on speed of typing, because everything else being equal, if you have someone who types really fast versus someone who types really slow, everything else being equal, someone who types fast is probably going to do better.
Yes, of course.
Right? So you can simply, again, if you're building out a funnel, like as an SEO, right, as tech, you can build out a funnel where you say, as soon as someone apply, you say, okay, great, here's the first test task, right? I want you to do the speed typing test and see how fast you type. Second step, if they're supposed to write in English or whatever language, doesn't matter, but then you can do a language test. Say, hey, here's what you're supposed to write. Let's see your writing skills. Then you do that. Okay. You might do a third thing and say, oh, now you got to the third step. we would love to see a video of you. I would love you to do a 2-minute video and explain to us, to the camera, why you think you'd be great for this particular role.
Amazing.
And what happens is every time you have less people, because one, some people can't be asked doing it.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Rule number one, if someone can't be bothered spending a little bit of time, they're probably not that eager for a job.
But if it's good enough, the person is good enough, we know that it's a very good resume, but he doesn't agree to do this test, then we should leave it, right?
What do you think?
Sometimes it's like, yeah, we cannot let him go, but I know that he's not doing this. How will he work in the company?
Resumes doesn't matter, right? Here's the thing. The greatest people have the right personality. They have the right mentality. They have the right attitude, right?
Yes.
I will take someone with 80% less skills if they have a 10% better attitude.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Think about your agency right now. You just mentioned a guy that's really good. I promise you, he's not great because he's the best SEO or because he's the best something. He's amazing because his attitude. He's amazing because of how he shows up.
That's very true. Actually, if I now recall, he works. I just even preparing the interview, he was just doing it. In one day, 24 hours, we prepared this, and he was the one helping me out. And that's the way he showed up. I think that's passively in my mind, but now that's coming up on the surface. Now I know.
Amazing. This is the key thing, right?
Yes. Yes.
Even when I day to day, when I surround myself with people, I surround myself with amazing humans, right? When I hire people that I want to spend time around, right? Like when you hire people that are just amazing humans, they will figure stuff out, right? This is one of the biggest things is people look so much at the resume. I look at the resume to see, like, if you're hiring a developer, yes, they need to know how to develop. I don't want to pay them 2 years to learn how to become a developer.
Yes.
But I'd way rather hire a person who's a decent developer than someone who's a great developer. If the decent developer have a way better attitude and mindset.
Wow. My co-founder is going to love this podcast. There are a lot of breakthroughs we are having right now because
But this is the key thing, right? Again, when you want to reward things, you want to reward great performance.
Yes.
Great performance comes from people with the right attitude.
Yes.
You can get a developer who worked for 10 years as a developer and someone who just come out of school, and sometimes the person coming out of school is delivering way better.
That's true. We've seen that's true.
And that's the same with all people, right? So the whole part of the hiring process is, there's two key things. Number one, when you bring down the number, like, the harder it is to get a job, the more people appreciate it.
Yes.
Google is one of the hardest companies to get a job. You go through at least 7 interviews to get a job at Google. Do you know why? They only want people who are so freaking eager to get the job that they show up on time 7 times.
Yes.
They fill all the tests, they do all the stuff. Right? Here's the thing. If someone is not willing to spend a couple of minutes doing a test, they don't want the job bad enough. Here's the thing. If they have the best resume on planet Earth and they can't fill in a speed typing test, I'm not going to look at them.
Wow. I recently learned this thing from a guy. He's actually, you can say, a fractional CTO for us. He works in a company. He also helps us hire tech guys into, we're into technology and stuff as well. So he designed 4 level of interview rounds. I said, are you crazy? Would someone be interested? It was a junior developer role. He said he has to do it because, so we, what you're just saying, as an agency owner, there's a pain point that we do not have a business kind of mindset again. So I am learning this from here, and here, and here. So if I think that you also do business consulting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everything as an agency owner, or maybe a company owner, maybe link building agency, or maybe a 360 marketing agency like us, are we going to learn everything in your consulting? All these things are into the flow? If
just the important stuff.
Just the important stuff, but this all
the rest of it you'll figure out yourself.
Amazing.
No, but
amazing.
so
amazing.
Honestly, most things is about mindset.
Correct.
The thing is, the reason why it takes a long time for most agency people to succeed is because they typically start out as a freelancer.
That's true. That was me.
And as an agency, they keep going with a freelancer mindset.
That is very true.
So they keep going with the mindset of, oh, one more client, I'll do some work. One more client, I will do the work. I will do the work, right? Until you figure out what your process is, until you figure out how to break it down into easily digestible chunks and hire people to do parts of that, until you do that, your growth will be exceptionally slow. And here's the thing, sometimes, as you say, sometimes you have to grab a customer because you don't have enough money to eat.
Correct.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's slow down your growth. So you have to find the balance between how fast do I want to grow? And here's the thing, when you first get it, when you get your process, when you start doing your marketing, it is so much easier.
Yes.
Because this like, hey, anyone know anyone that needs SEO? First of all, you're going to get paid very little because you're one of a billion people saying the same thing.
Yes.
It's a race to the bottom.
Yes.
When we do SEO for chimney cleaners, or we only do SEO for Shopify e-commerce people.
Real estate, like
when you have something very specific, you can demand more money.
That's true.
Here's what happens. Let's take a video equipment. Let's take a camera. If you can buy a camera for $100 and you can buy a camera for $400,
right.
Which one do you assume is better?
$400?
Right.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If you charge $1,000 for your service and your friend charges $2,000 for the same service, which one will I assume is better?
I got it. 2,000. Yes.
Right. Here's the thing. Most people in the world of SEO do not get picked because people assume you have a less good service. The only people that pick you are the people who have no money. Here's the thing. People who have money doesn't look for cheap. They look for return of investment.
Yes. Yes.
If I pay $1,000 and you make me $2,000, okay. If I can pay someone else $10,000 and they make me $100,000, I like that more.
Yeah.
Right? This is where a lot of the mindset of many people doesn't match reality. A lot of the time with split testing, you can do it. I'll give you a good example. If I do my management coaching, when I do it with small entrepreneurs, I typically charge like $5,000, right? So a day with me, $5,000. If I go to IBM and I say, I want to do coaching for IBM, I'm $5,000 a day, they're not even going to look at me. They're going to assume I'm that bad because I only charge $5,000 a day. If I don't charge a minimum $25,000, maybe $30,000 a day, they will not even think about it.
Wow. That's true. That's I think that's where I want to get. I'm initializing that kind of journey. It's happening in some niches in real estate. We're trying to do it in a geo. We're trying to do it. We're able to do it actually.
One of the key things.
Very basic. Yeah.
One of the key things when you break down the process, do you know what happens? You deliver results.
Yes.
Because you know exactly what you're doing consistently. It's not like, oh, let me try and figure out what to do with this customer. Oh, let me try and figure out what to do here. You have a process that works and you deliver results over and over and over again. And here's the thing, when you, let's say you're in a niche of real estate, when you work with 27 real estate clients, you know it all. You know all the keywords.
Yes.
You know all the lingo.
That's very true.
You know what works.
Exactly.
Here's the thing, you should charge more money because here's the thing, when you know what works, when you know the keywords, you deliver more value.
Yes.
Right? If I've never worked with real estate and someone comes to me, it'll take me a lot longer to deliver the same results that you can do in less time.
That's very true.
Here's the thing, when you nail down your process, you make it easier and cheaper to deliver better results, which means for cheaper money, you can deliver better result and charge more money.
I have a question.
Yes.
Breaking down the process, like it's a very simple thing you explained, but it was so mind changing that the example of typing test, that's again coming in my mind. Okay, now why I'm taking this example, because it's a very simple thing, right? Now coming to a talent, it's related. Now I'll connect these dots. If I have to replace myself, maybe, you might have been, many people might be asking this question to you. like one side we say that we have to break the process into very simple things, like maybe a typing test for a writer, which is very that makes sense actually. But on the other side, I want to really hire a good senior person who's actually able to judge which is a better means a better applicant, right? I want to have someone who's on a team lead role, who's so now coming to the team lead hire. At that point, shall I look at the talent, or shall I look at, okay, that he doesn't know this much right now, but he will learn. So shall we give a runway to the person that, okay, you shall we hire a person who's who wants a runway and can do it. We think that he can do it, he and she can do it, but right now he's not there. And was an example you mentioned about a person who had to do all your Zoom recordings and edit and all that stuff. So can you tell me more about it? Yeah.
So what are you hiring for? Is it an existing team?
Yes.
Find the best person
Okay.
in the team
Okay.
and promote them.
Okay. Yes. We kind of.
Do you know why? Because number one, you show the team that there's opportunity to grow in the company.
Yes.
Number two, you get someone you know. You know what to expect. You might not succeed every time, but even if it's a failure, it's not going to go horribly wrong. Right? Of course, you're not going to promote someone you don't think is good. But when you promote good people, you're generally going to win most of the time. The problem is when you hire externally, sometimes it goes really well, and sometimes it's go horribly wrong. Because they might not know the culture, they might not gel with the people, they might not. Many things can go wrong.
Has happened with us, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The risk of hiring externally in more senior roles is higher. Like I've seen companies literally break the neck by hiring an external COO or CEO that have come in with great resume, good experience. They had some different ideas how to do things, started changing a lot of stuff, and eventually didn't deliver. So all of this stuff that was working was suddenly changed with lots of good ideas into something that wasn't working. The guy was kicked out, and the company ended up collapsing. Right. So the key thing here is twofold. Grow the existing people you have so that you can promote them. Right? The way you do that is very simple. Delegate to them and give them ownership and responsibility.
Okay.
Make sense?
A lot of sense. Again, listening to your in your past podcast, you've discussed that there was a example that you delegated, you hired a person. She was not from the background. The background was also different. You believed in her in some way, but you gave her the chance to. The job was to download my Zoom, do all the things, even
it was to run a podcast,
correct,
right?
So I basically want to. You said that on every Wednesday my podcast has to go. So your job is to actually figure that out, do everything, even do the editing. My question is, like, for one person, that much roles of editing, downloading, maybe caption writing, maybe scheduling is good, or like the editor should do the editing? Like, shall we split the company into very small role? Like, editor, you do the editing, you do the, and then there's a senior manager handling everything. But that would maybe increase the to and fro communication of internally, managing the process. Which is a better approach? In just
rule number one, there's no right or wrong.
Okay.
The key thing here is you become a real manager when you learn to delegate things that are not yet getting done. The problem is most people have heard this saying that you figure out, you look at something, you figure out how to do something, and then you put it in a process, and then you delegate it. Well, I can promise you, the manager of IBM, the CEO of IBM, is not figuring out what 100,000 people are doing. I can promise you.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
If you do that in a small business, you're always the bottleneck. Here's the thing. Let's say you're right now doing SEO and you're doing, let's take marketing. So I don't know what marketing team you have, but let's say you want to start doing cold outreach email for new clients. Right? You could do two things. You could either sit down and figure out how to do it, or you could pick some of your existing people. You could say, hey, you're a really great writer. I want you to be responsible for our cold email outreach. I want you to figure out, for us to succeed in cold email, what tools should we use? How should we do it? What's it required? I will give you the responsibility.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. If you have to figure out everything yourself, it happens at a very slow speed because you can only do one thing at a time. But you can delegate responsibilities to a lot of different people.
Correct.
And here's the thing, if you give 8 different people a responsibility and just 3 of them succeed, you're going to win.
Yeah.
If 5 of them succeed, you're going to win big. If 7 of them succeed,
it's going to be massive.
Right.
Yes.
You get my point.
Yes. Last question. Opposite than this. Now tell me just a few things about firing. I've been very soft. I've been it's like there are situations where we know that this is not working out. We've done a mistake, or maybe a member is old in the company, but now the things are not working out. There are some other factors involved sometimes. So how do you think about the firing, and how, like, maybe in short, if you can tell me about it? Yeah.
Number 1, be honest and clear to people about their performance.
Okay.
So we actually built a tool called HeyRamp,
Okay.
which is a people management tool that helps a little bit with this.
Oh.
So basically, it's for like one-to-ones and performance reviews.
Mhm.
But one of the key things, a lot of time when a staff member is not performing, the manager is not always great at letting them know. Like, hey, this is really good, and by the way, your work sucks, and but you're also a nice person. So they try and sandwich it, they try and do something. So the person don't know, hey, I'm about to get fired.
That's are the mistakes I've been doing. Yes.
Here's the problem.
Yes.
If people don't know they're gonna get fired, if I'm sitting here thinking I'm doing a good job, I'm not gonna try and improve. You make the assumption that I know I suck, and therefore I'm trying to improve. I feel I'm doing a good job, and therefore I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Now, if I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, the likelihood I'm going to succeed is not very high.
What a breakthrough. Get it. Now let's talk quickly about productivity. Personal level productivity. Do you believe in 80-20 rule? This I have just come across like last year, and after that my life has changed. I was a perfectionist. I used to do everything on my own. I used to master it. Then I thought that 80-20 rule is a better thing to do, like do 20% of the time, get 80% of the results, and I think 80% is good to go. Do you believe in that?
Well, 80-20 makes sense.
Okay.
But that's not the problem.
Okay.
The real problem is when people think of time management, they want to do more stuff in the same time. And that's not the right thing. Okay. The reason why most people fail is because they're doing the wrong things.
Okay.
No matter how many of the wrong things you do, you're not going to fail. You're not going to succeed.
Correct.
Where most people who are thinking about time management and productivity should look instead is how can I do the right things? Okay. So focus on what are the things that grows my business. Again, most people who want to be more productive, they want to do more for the client sites.
Correct.
Instead of going out and finding clients and doing marketing. Correct. Because the way you grow is by finding more clients and doing marketing. 99% of people who come and talk to me about time management or productivity, they're not doing the right things.
Do you believe in time blocking? Yesterday when you were booking the calendar with me, I saw your calendar. It was all time blocked. Yep. I was very happy to see that. So do you believe in time blocking, or do you believe in going with the flow? Like if you're doing something and it's going great and you just, don't look at the watch and just do it. What is your
Fundamentally, I believe I can do 2 or 3 effective work blocks a day.
Okay.
Typically an hour and a half.
Okay.
If I do 3 1-hour work sprints a day, I've had a really good day. Okay. And what I mean with work sprints is it's dedicated time where I sit down for 1 hour and focus on one specific thing. No distractions, no anything, just one thing.
When it's going good, you really like to, you're very into that thing. Would you extend the time?
Doesn't matter.
You'll do it.
1 hour, I'll find an hour another time to continue.
Okay, so you'll leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then because you've done it so much, and then you'll be also intrigued to go back to it when in the other day, right?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Wanted to know that. Okay. Rapid fire for you. One phrase of advice that changed your approach of managing people.
The other way often works just as well.
Okay.
AKA, I'm not always right.
Okay. Your non-negotiable daily habit.
I don't have any.
Okay. What's your go-to productivity app?
My calendar is probably the closest to a productivity app.
Yes. Great. One must-read book for leaders.
First, Break All the Rules.
Okay.
What a great title of a book. I like breaking rules.
Yeah. Okay. One word of advice for first-time managers.
Spend time learning how to lead and manage.
One task you'd never delegate.
Hiring people who work directly for me.
Wow. Preferred system or tool for understanding team personalities.
Disc.
Okay.
So Disc behavior framework is 100% my preference. People who want to use HeyRAM, they can, for free, they can go and sign up and get a personality test and do personality tests with their team.
Okay. Thank you. We'll look into that. One quote that derives you.
So I love the Gladiator quote that says, "What we do in life echoes in eternity."
Favorite way to relax after a tiring day.
Spend my time around amazing humans.
Wow. Thank you for the rapid fire round. It was amazing. Now just 4-5 SEO questions. Where do you see SEO after 4-5 years? Do you think that the agency should be start working right now after like for the future to come for SEO? There's something we should be looking into in terms of management. If the things like in SEO things are changing, is there anything you want to say on that?
I think SEO is going to be a traffic channel, like always.
Okay.
What it is exactly is going to change, but SEO will always be some kind of
for the
traffic
evolution,
channel.
maybe some agencies could, like maybe make better systems would be one part of it.
Yeah, but I mean, the world will always evolve. You got to involve with it.
Yes. Okay. I am the knowledge bearer in my company. Okay.
Don't do that.
Yeah, this was a. So I'm the knowledge bearer in my company. I am always like, this is a very important question, and I kept it for the end because this is a pain point in my company. Is that I have been doing course thing. I've been doing everything. I've been bringing up the knowledge and then delegating to the team. Okay, you now do this course. You do this, and then we make SOPs and then we refine them. But the problem is that I have to do it. I have to bring that knowledge. I have to, grow my agency. So when I'm focused towards sales, or maybe I'm focused towards maybe I'm on a vacation, maybe I'm not productive enough. I'm that kind of person. Like if I'm non-productive, I'm not productive for months maybe, and then I'm productive for months. That kind of personality I have. So when I'm not doing really great, the agency tends to bend down. The graph tends to bend down, and the major reason I've seen is this, that I have to be the knowledge bearer. I have to be ahead of the times. Our processes are a little bit automation.
It's not that you have to be the knowledge bearer. Your problem is you are the knowledge bearer.
How to fix that?
Very simple. Give people ownership and responsibility. Like you learned SEO in a certain way, everyone else learned SEO in a certain way. The only way to fix it is bring in people to your company who can learn SEO.
But the problem is I always think that no one can do better than me. I can learn. I have to do it. I'll make a better SOP. How to fix that?
Well, it's very simple. If you keep doing it, you're going to be an SEO, not a CEO. So if you don't want to make that much money, great, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to make more money, stop doing what you're doing.
But then I also want to be relevant because you know a lot of SEO stuff still, but I don't think that you're doing it. How to then stay relevant? You maybe maybe apply 80-20 rule here. Maybe what should I do to stay relevant? Not okay. I'll be fine. I take your advice. I'll not do SEO. I'll not learn SEO anymore. But how do I stay relevant in an SEO conference then? How do I still say that I'm in the SEO?
My question is, why are you in an SEO conference? So here's the thing: all of your clients go to other conferences.
Correct.
Right? If you're working with roofers, go to a roofing conference. Do you know why I'm at an SEO conference? Because most of my clients are SEOs.
Exactly.
Right? You're better going to a conference that's full of all your clients than a conference that's full of all your friends.
Okay. Last thing, just a thing I have made recently, and it has really worked for us, is that I was charging $2,000 from old clients, low paying clients in the past, and then I from 2-3 years it was going on, and then we developed a system which I named as CPH, cost per hour of an employee. Why this happened is that what we were saying, that we are spending a lot of money on the client, and the client is not happy because according to the client he's spending money. According to us, it's very less budget for especially the advertisement and stuff. And then we actually figured out that let's see how much cost. We were thinking that we are on slim margins. It's okay, old client, it's good to go. We are slim margins, we can do it. And but when we saw, actually, then we made a system. Because that client tried to he was like, I am going to try another agency, And he came back after 2 months. That's another story. But he was like, he told me one thing, that you are a very boutique experience agency. And I have found an agency who has hundreds of people, you just 20-30 people. He's a 200 people company, and they will do my work. And they have everything, so the cost is quite going to be very low. They have all the processes and everything. So I'm going to, so that stuck in my mind, boutique experience agency. And then we started to.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about your process.
Correct.
If you can deliver effective results at a lower cost, that's what it's all about.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah. So we made a system called CPH. In short, I'll explain that I told everybody that I made a very stupid thing. Just correct me, and that if you, and just suggest me if you can do it better. That maintain an Excel sheet, Google sheet. Just click when you start working on something, and just click again when you end it. And there's a time block. It comes for every. Just mention the project there. It takes extra time for the company, but not for every project or everything we have. For every, like you mentioned an example in the past, that if the cost of, what is the cost of the link acquisition, it's not just the cost, it's actually the employee cost, it's the office cost, it's everything, right? So then we figure out, okay, we are actually in a loss if you're working for this client, we have to leave this client. So what I'm trying to say is that CPH really was a breakthrough for us. We did it 2 months ago, and we are making a lot of changes in the company. We are even firing because of that. A lot of things are happening. So can I make this system better? Anything you just in 1 minute you can explain?
Fundamentally, that's what you want to do. Okay. You want to understand, what if someone pays me X amount, what am I making?
Okay.
And you're doing the right thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was an amazing interview, and it was a pleasure having it. It's the best I've ever done. Thank you so much. Thank you for sticking till the end of the conversation with us. We hope you found as much value as we did while creating it. If you enjoyed the podcast and want us to bring more such influential guests, then please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Honestly, each like and subscribe help us keep going. It keeps us motivated to make such content which is filled with insights and strategies for you. If you enjoyed the podcast and want us to bring more such influential guests, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Honestly, each like or a subscribe help us keep going and make such content which is filled with insights and valuable knowledge for you. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Anything you would like to tell us about the podcast? Whom do you want to see in the next podcast? And what kind of questions do you want to ask? And hey, just don't keep the conversation with yourself. Share this podcast with at least one person, can be a friend, colleague, or a family member, or anyone you think can benefit from learning something valuable or getting a fresh perspective. After all, one conversation, one perspective can truly change someone's life. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode of the Business Playbook by Gundeep.